Hi guys, it's Amy. So, you will not be getting a 35-week update. Today you will get the birth story. Last time on my video I said, unless something crazy happens, see you next week. Well, that crazy happened. And before I begin, I just want to give a little disclaimer out that this video will have some graphic details, and if you're a little bit squeamish or don't want to hear about too much female parts or blood or things like that, you may not want to watch the video. You may also want to grab some tissue. I know I did, because I will not be able to go through this whole story without crying some tears. So that's my little disclaimer. I also will be looking down just a little bit. I try to jot some notes down, ended up writing like almost the whole story. I'm like, no, just shoot the video, look down a little bit, it'll be all right. There's just so much detail and I don't want to forget anything. So, okay, last Wednesday and Thursday, that would have been the 14th and 15th of June, I was not feeling myself. I was a little nauseous, and my feet were ginormous, and my legs started to swell, and even my left leg started to go a little bit numb. Not the whole day, just every now and then it felt numb. Back aches really, really bad, but I thought that I had hurt my back getting out of bed because of the way I would just roll out of bed. Maybe I thought I pinched a nerve or something. But then by Thursday, it was off and on hurting, so I was like, that might be back labor. Possibly, I have never had that before, but that may be what that is. Contractions definitely were there. Nothing consistent, but painful ones were there, and then just some that were more just tightening were there throughout those 2 days. With all that being said, and I just wasn't myself. I was not myself. I was just crying uncontrollably, and I just, didn't feel good. So with all that being said, I didn't go to the doctor because we had our appointment Friday morning, the 16th of June. And so the IM texted me saying she was going to pick me up, and I was being stubborn, saying, no, I'll just drive. My husband saying, you're crazy. She was saying, you're crazy. She said she would pick me up. I said, okay, fine. That's what she's done in the past anyway. I just don't know why I was being argumentative about it. I don't know. It just wasn't myself. So anyway, she picked me up that morning, and our appointment was super early. It was at 8:30. So she picked me up around 8, and we got to the doctor's office, and they weighed me and took a urine sample as normal, just to make sure there's no protein in my urine, and weighed me, and I wasn't even really focused on the scale until it said 180, and I was like, well, that's pretty impressive. So a total weight gain of like 42 pounds. I think that's right. So I thought it was impressive. So we get back to the room, and the nurse didn't know if she should hook up the stress test first, because she knew the doctor wanted to do an internal exam as well. So we decided to do the internal exam first. So we sit there and waited for a few minutes for the doctor. She came in, did the exam. I told her all this stuff. And then she did the exam and said that my cervix was dilated to a 1, which was pretty normal or average for 35 weeks with twins. But she said that it felt like a laboring cervix, which I'm not sure exactly what that means. But she, I guess, a little concerned about it, because she said that she wanted me to go up to the labor and delivery floor to be monitored and get hooked up to the non-stress test there. And guys, I knew at that moment I was having the babies today. I just knew I was. That's exactly what she said last time, my last journey at 33 weeks and 3 days. I don't know. Deja vu. I just kind of knew it. So we get wheelchaired up there, and they get me hooked up to the non-stress test, and the nurse checks me a little while later, and I was still like a 1, and I'm laying there, and I can see the contractions on the monitor, but the nurses were saying that they were definitely contractions, but they weren't long enough to be considered laboring contractions. I don't know, but they hurt, and every time it bumped up on the screen, it was in my back, so I'm confirming that was back labor contractions that I was having for Wednesday and Thursday. Okay, so I'm laying there, and the IM goes to get something to eat and drink because I'm going to be there for a while. I text my husband that I'm going to be there for a while. And so, I don't know, I just was laying there knowing that any minute she was going to walk in saying that today's the day. Well, around 1 o'clock, the doctor came back in, checked me again, and I was a little closer to a 2, but nothing major there except that the contractions were definitely coming every so often, close enough to where she didn't want my uterus contracting that much. And I was definitely in labor, and that's why I wasn't feeling good, and to go ahead and call whoever we needed to call, because at 3:30 she wants to do the C-section. It's 1, so I was like, oh my goodness, okay. The mom was out, so I called her and I said, hey, you better call your people because we're having these babies today at 3:30. So she comes back into the room, makes phone calls. I had to make some phone calls for our daycare parents to come pick up their little ones. And it was all just pretty fast there, waiting for the dad to get there, my husband to get there. It was going pretty quick. So everybody got there on time. I'm prepped in the OR, got the spinal block put in, and I lay on the table, and here we go. So everything went pretty smooth. The babies came at 3:58 and 3:59. I did throw up twice on the table, and that was the weirdest position to puke in because I know I'm wide open and I'm strapped down, so I'm laying flat. I don't want to heave or push, that feeling you get when you puke. I didn't want to do that because I know I'm open, and I don't know, I just had this envision that it was gross and uncomfortable and weird. And plus I'm strapped down, and I can only turn my head to the left, so I'm puking this way into a bucket. My husband's so sweet, he's rubbing my head saying it's okay, and it was just the weirdest thing. I haven't ever gotten sick on the table before delivering babies. So that was the first for me. I did that twice, and I don't know if it was just because they were pushing so much or just, I don't know. I went in feeling nauseous, though, in the morning. So I don't know if it's combination of both or what caused it, but just definitely weird. But the actual surgery went well. The doctor said everything looks good. I healed well from my last 2 C-sections. Everything is good. They close me up. I go to the recovery room for an hour. I could hear the parents in the room. However, I did get word that they had to be pushed out when the babies came out because the babies were not crying right away or something. I honestly don't know all the details from that, so I won't go into much of it, but they were in there, both mom and dad, and my husband and myself, of course, did get to be in there, but I don't know when exactly they were told to leave or when they got to come back in. But anyway, so I got all put back together and then wheeled to the recovery room for an hour. And I don't remember a whole lot of the recovery room. I know I fell asleep, and then I got to go back to my room. And my kids were already there. They stayed in the waiting room the whole time with the intended parents' family that was there too. So I got to see them. I think it was around 6 o'clock when I got to go back to my room. And I felt good. Everything felt normal and okay. And I felt like my normal self. I had 2 friends stop by to say congratulations and to bring me some beautiful flowers. And everything was going well. My husband went home to take the kids home so they could have a break. The IPs, of course, are with their babies. And I got up, sat in a chair, not immediately. Now I'm talking like it's probably 7 or 8 o'clock. I got up to sit in a chair. I went ahead and started pumping using the hospital's grade breast pump. And I got very, 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 very little out. Like I'm talking a drop from one boob came out, but I wasn't upset or discouraged. I know it takes some time, and for the milk to come in or even the colostrum to get going, that kind of stuff. So I was just grateful that I was able to just start pumping. About an hour I sat in the chair, and then I got back into the bed. My husband came back, and now it's around, I'm going to guess, 9 o'clock. And my husband just got back, and I was telling him, to spend the night at home. Don't stay here with me. I'm fine. Go back home. He brought me a few things. I thanked him for that, but I said go home. I guess I should not say I am anymore. The mom came back into my room, and so we were all just kind of talking for a few minutes, and then I didn't feel good all of a sudden. My vision started getting blurry, and I couldn't hear very well, and I just felt really nauseous again. Didn't feel good at all. So I told my husband to hit the button for the nurse, but I know the mom jumped up and ran out. I don't remember all the details from now. For a couple hours. I guess it was a couple hours. I really don't know how long this took. Okay, so next thing I knew, one nurse came in and pushed a button behind my head on the bed and yelled code blue or code OB blue. Again, I don't know because I couldn't hear or see or think very well. But the next thing I knew is there was probably 15 or 20 people in my room, and doctors and nurses, and it was very scary. I started hemorrhaging. That's why I wasn't feeling good. And so I had I know at first the mom and my husband were to my left, and they were both stroking my hair and my arms, telling me that it's okay and I'm okay and everything is okay, but I knew it wasn't the truth. I remember moaning and having this weird feeling of gushing coming out. And so then I realized a doctor is literally grabbing my uterus with one hand and squeezing, and blood clots are coming out like crazy, and they're not small, they're quite huge. So big that my husband thought it was my organs coming out. And I lost quite a bit of blood. And then the next thing I know is that the mom and my husband are not beside me anymore. They're kind of in the corner of the room. And the nurse is here, and she's telling me everything is going to be okay. And but they are pushing so very hard on my stomach. Two other the one on my left and another nurse, so two nurses are pushing on my stomach, and I can hear the doctor yelling, "Push harder." And then I realize who is beside my head, and it's a chaplain. So I know that all is not right, and I am so scared and terrified of dying. And I could see my husband. Told you I couldn't get through this. I can see my husband in the corner, who was a very strong man. But when you think that you're gonna lose your wife, you start crumbling just a little bit. So one of the doctors had him sit down in the corner so that he didn't pass out. And the mom is with him, trying to comfort him. And I'm just trying really hard to focus on good things and positive things. Like my kids and the babies that were just born, and because I knew if I closed my eyes that I probably wouldn't wake up. I heard the doctor say prep the OR, because if what he was doing didn't work, I'd have to go and have an emergency hysterectomy. It didn't even faze me when he said it, because I just didn't, like I said, didn't want to die. So whatever their next options were, I was just grateful that there were more options. Okay. So everything was okay. They got the bleeding to stop. I ended up losing about 2 liters of blood, and I think there's only 5 liters in the body. So I lost quite a bit of blood. But I'm so grateful that I didn't have to have the hysterectomy, and I'm okay, and I'm alive, and the procedure that he was doing, worked. I know after he was done, they gave me Pitocin through my IV, which I had 2 IVs. Pitocin was going through one just to make my uterus continue to contract. They gave me a shot in my thigh of I don't know what. They gave me a pill in my rectum of I don't know what, and they had me a pill to swallow. It was all to help my uterus keep working, because that's what happened. It just was tired and it stopped working. So all that medication worked. Everyone pretty much was leaving the room slowly but surely, and I'm okay. I ended up needing 2 blood transfusions though, because I did lose so much. But that was, I didn't have to have that until the next day. I would tell you, honestly, I was terrified to go to sleep that night. So grateful my husband did not listen to me and go home right before all this happened. I can't imagine doing this alone. I'm so grateful for him, and I'm so grateful he didn't end up passing out or hurting himself. I'm so glad the mom was there with me. I'm so grateful that it turned out how it did. Okay. So the next morning is when I had the blood transfusion. I still had the Pitocin and the 2 IVs, and I still had antibiotic going through my body, and I can't remember what else. There was so much medication going through me. But yes, I'm trying to think what's next. Bear with me. Okay, so the next morning, my doctor came in and said she's happy with how everything went, and because that was not my doctor doing that procedure. That was just the doctor on call in the hospital, because my doctor had already left for the night. She was at home. So they did notify her. They did notify her, and she did get there, but everything was pretty much done. She came back the next morning to see me. Everything was still good. The bleeding was minimal, like it should be. My uterus was firm and doing its job, which it should be, and I'm so thankful for it. And she did tell me, do not pump. No more pumping, let my body heal. I lost so much fluid that my body probably won't even be able to produce any milk at this time. So she just said, do not pump. Heartbreaking, but I get it. So I'm looking down at my notes. That was all the craziness. So let me tell you about the babies. They are so freaking adorable. They both have hair galore. The little boy seems to have a little bit more than the little girl, but it is so cute. They're dark complected and they're just perfect. They are in the NICU still. We are, like I said, 9 days out, but they are still in the NICU, but doing great and continue to do good every single day. There is no timeline of my knowledge of when they'll be able to go home. Probably close to the due date is what I heard a couple days ago. But I'm not sure. I know they are getting breast milk, because I guess I should have said that first. I am able to pump. I'll go into details about that, but they are getting breast milk from me, and but my supply is not where it should be, so they're also getting a little bit of donor milk too from the hospital. But they're taking it from a bottle, and then they also still have a tube And I think when they're able to take the whole bottle and no issues, then that's when they are able to go home. But I'm not 100% sure. And I do apologize, but I cannot tell you their beautiful names yet or show you pictures of them yet because I don't have permission. But just know they are the cutest babies ever. And the parents, of course, are so thrilled and over the moon happy. I'm sorry. And I am so happy, so happy that I got past 33 weeks. I just felt like every day past that was just a blessing, and I'm grateful to be delivering at 35 weeks when I did. They were not considered preemies, so that's a good thing. Okay, so back to pumping. My doctor came in the next day, which would have been Sunday, and she actually told me I could go home, which was a shocker. I mean, I was grateful. I wanted to go home, be in my house, and be able to relax a little bit more. But she said everything looked good with me. The blood transfusions worked. My platelets were back up to where they should be. And I was pretty much as healthy as I could be. And I can go home if I want. So that is what I did. I didn't get home until Sunday way late afternoon, but I was grateful to go home on Sunday, which was Father's Day. And so what a gift to the dad and then my husband who didn't get a Father's Day celebration. We're still postponing that, but we got to be home together for the day, so it was very special. And then so I asked my doctor, since I get to go home, how about pumping? And she said, yeah, if I feel up to it, go ahead. So I got home and I started pumping every 2 hours around the clock. And I wasn't getting much of anything. Like, it was seriously just a couple of drops. But I knew not to give up, and I knew my supply would not be where it should be, considering the trauma that my body went through. So just now, probably the past 2-3 days, I'm finally able to fill up these little guys. They are about 1 ounce, and these hook up to the breast shield, and then I combine them into the 2 ounce, and then I put labels on these, and these go to the hospital every evening. My husband runs them up to the hospital to deliver them to the babies. I did end up renting a pump from the hospital. I felt like their commercial grade would just help me a little bit more than my own pump. So I rented that, and I do think it is helping. It has a great setting on there that mimics the babies very well. And I'm very grateful for where my supply is, but I don't think that it's gonna get much better than that. Like I said, I'm filling up one of these because I did switch from every 2 hours to every 3 hours now. So I'm pumping every 3 hours, and I'm getting a 2 ounce bottle, which I know every little bit helps the babies, and I'm so grateful that my body is doing what it's doing despite all the trauma it went through. And so that's pumping. Unfortunately, I don't think I will be able to go as long as I wanted to for them, but definitely at least while they're in the NICU, and hopefully a couple of weeks after they get home. But we will see, and I will keep you updated on that. What else am I forgetting? I'm looking at my notes, sorry. So that's physically, and I'm still super sore. And I know, again, it's from all the extra pushing, and then just the surgery in general, and my breasts are sore, and yeah, so I'm just now able to like stand up completely straight and walk. It's uncomfortable still. My incision site is still pretty swollen and sore. What else am I feeling? I'm able to sleep quite a bit during the day and night, despite pumping every 3 hours. I'm just napping in between all of that. I'm not trying not to take too much pain medication. I'm not one for pills, but I know they're helping me. The order says every 4 hours, but I think I'm only taking like 2 or 3 per day. But I can tell a difference when I take them and when I don't. I'm still taking it super easy, and only 9 days out. I plan to take it very easy for the whole 6 weeks that the doctor told me to take it easy for, so that my body can completely heal. Confirmation that I am done, though, was that scary trauma that I've had to go through. That was definitely confirmation that my body is done having babies. It is a beautiful thing though. I did it, 6 pregnancies, 8 babies, and I am so grateful and proud of my body for being able to do that. But yes, I am completely done with that aspect of my life. So, and it's bittersweet. I will miss being pregnant, but I do not want to go through that trauma again. That was super scary for my whole family. Now, that's physically. So emotionally, I am so, so happy. I do cry every now and then, but it's not that I want the babies or I miss the babies or I miss being pregnant or anything like that. I think it's just the hormone getting back into balance and having a little reality check. And they're happy tears. I'm so happy. The mom sends me pictures all the time of the little cutie pies, and seeing her holding her baby or babies and feeding them and loving on them puts me on cloud 9, right next to her, being on cloud 9, doing everything she's doing with those babies. I can just see the weight lifted off of her shoulders of the struggle that they went through for so many years to get here. And I'm so happy and honored that I got to help them. And their sweet babies are here and they're healthy, and I can't wait for them to go home and be a little family. And so that's the happy tears that I cry every now and then, but it's definitely not a sad thing, or I miss being pregnant, or I miss not having the babies or anything like that. It's definitely none of that, which I'm grateful for. Okay, so I think I covered everything. I will stand up and show you my stomach. It is not pretty, but again, it has housed 8 babies, and I'm only 9 days out, and I am super proud of my body and what it's achieved and accomplished. And okay, so as far as updates go, they probably won't be weekly, but maybe every 2 weeks. This is not the end of Happy Amy. Even though I won't be able to be a surrogate anymore, I'm sure we can find some fun videos to make. So stick around. I hope you guys do. Let me stand up. Like I said, I'm a slow mover. So this is with my shirt on. Whew. And this is with my shirt up. And I got my pants down a little bit so you can see how we look 9 days out. It's my incision. I ended up with no stretch marks. I have some here on the sides, but that's just from my other pregnancies, and I'm sure the little creases have gotten a little bit thicker with each pregnancy, but I'm not complaining. I'm happy. So I know I still have lots of swelling and things like that, but I think it looks good for only 9 days out. I'm having 2 little babies in there. Guys, I appreciate you so much. Thank you so, so much for all the love and all the support, and I will update you guys soon. Please like and subscribe if you haven't. If you have, I love you. Thank you, and we'll talk soon. Bye.